you gave us a couple of guys that you think might be sleepers in this draft. The Browns have been pretty good at finding guys later in the drafts, especially lately with Andrew Berry. And you gave us Solomon Byrd, edge rusher from USC, 6'3", 255. And you see fairly productive, both Wyoming and USC. Fails to stand out physically or athletically on tape, plays with solid aggression, strength, finds himself entangled with blockers more often than he should. And again, when you're talking about guys later in drafts, these are pretty standard things that you're going to hear about. I mean, if they had the production on tape and the measurables, they'd be up higher. What do you like about Byrd?
So I liked him because I was watching him during Shrine Bowl practices, and one, I love the motor. I felt like he was going all out at all times, and so I really liked that about him. But two, when he was at the Shrine Bowl, there were a couple of reps where he was trying a nice move. Like there was an inside spin move specifically where he tried something and it worked. He was able to do it, but the coach actually kind of like brought him aside. He's like, hey, here's how you can make that win even cleaner. He gets right back on the line of scrimmage, immediately wants to show it and does, hits the move exactly the way that he needs to. And just, I felt like I saw that a couple of times with him where it was something that he almost tried, was like being a perfectionist with his craft. And like you said, if this guy was more productive, then if he was more like a top tier talent, we wouldn't be talking about him as a late round gem. But somebody who's not afraid to continue to do what he needs to do, to have the reps, to get better, to hone in on his craft, like that's the kind of player that you want to bet on. That's the kind of player that you say, all right, let me take a flyer on this guy somewhere on day 3 and see what he develops into. He's got that want to, he's got that work ethic, and I think that he does. He's got some physical limitations in terms of overall athleticism, but I do feel like he's aware of that, and he's trying to get more pass rush moves in there, and so that's something that really drew me to Solomon Byrd as a day 3 guy to take a flyer on.
All right, and the other guy is a cornerback, Kamel Haddon, from Tennessee, 6'1", 196. Big cover corner with athletic talent and skill set to employ in a variety of coverages. Had the feet and strength to redirect routes from press, but can be a little tight in the transition when trying to simply mirror and match and release. Cornerback is a position the Browns have been, especially under Berry, they've been really good at identifying traits and corners and getting them in and getting them productive. So what did you like about Haddon?
Yeah, look, Cleveland Browns, let's be clear, have maybe the best trio of corners in the NFL. And so it's not like you're saying, hey, I need this guy to start right away. But the reason why I like him as a late round gem for Cleveland is with this position, you always want to have guys in the bullpen, in the farm system that you're developing that could potentially be starters for you one day, whether because of injury, whether contract situations come up and they lose them in free agency, whatever it is. Haddon is somebody who has been on a long college football journey in a couple of different programs, gets to Tennessee, struggles early on, but man, this past year, he had an elite coverage grade before he ended up getting hurt midway through the season. So he was playing some really good football, had a couple of pick sixes as well. So, I mean, he was somebody who you finally, it felt like you saw the light turn on with a lot of that height, that length, that athletic ability, that combination of those things really started to show up this past year. So small sample size of him playing well. That's why he's going to get drafted on day 3 somewhere. But for the Browns, like you mentioned, really good at identifying talent, really good at kind of developing these guys, finding these guys somewhere on day 3. I think that Haddon could be somebody that they could have their eye on to say, yeah, we like that small sample size. Let's see what it can become if we get him in our system. So that's why I like him for Cleveland.